First story. OP ran away from home after her narcissistic mom demanded that she cut school and babysit her brother. Throwaway because my dad's on Reddit. Sorry if it is long. My 15F will be a junior in high school once the new school year starts. I have a little brother I'll call Matt 3M. My parents both work full-time jobs in the business district. I was a planned baby, but Matt wasn't. My parents considered putting him up for adoption, but couldn't do it. They don't know I know this. Once my mom ended her maternity leave 2 weeks early, there was a schedule of who watched Matt when. Mom leaves for work at 4:30 a.m., waking me up on the way. I watch Matt until I need to go to school at 7, and by that time, my dad is up and takes over. I get home from school at 3:45 p.m., and my dad leaves for work no later than 4 p.m. I watch him till my mom gets home at 6 p.m. For the first year, that's how it went. I was fine with that. Now, my mom has shifted her hours to work later. I watch Matt till he sleeps, and I can't sleep till my mom gets home, which is usually 10-11 at night. On top of that, I do anything that needs doing at home. I'm in AP classes and have my homework to do as well. Matt's not very well behaved. He's had health issues since birth that cause him discomfort. He's a toddler, and I get that. But his tantrums and general demeanor make it hard for me to get things done. The two things that tore me down most happened a week before school ended back in May. I managed to talk to my mom and ask her if we could please hire a sitter to look after Matt. I want to take on some extracurriculars. Her response was that they didn't need to waste money on that because they had me. 2 days later, my mom got home at 5 p.m. early for her, and after eating dinner, she told me to ask the school if I could shorten my class load next year in order to spend more time at home since my dad also apparently wants to shift his hours. I told her no. She got mad, saying I needed to be more understanding and accepting. I had enough and blew up. I can't remember what all was said, but I do remember yelling that I wasn't my little brother's parent. I stormed to my room, stuffed some things in my backpack, and left while my mom was distracted by my brother. I'm safe. I called my grandmother and explained what was going on. She and my mother are estranged, but we managed to stay close. Once she picked me up and got the details, she said she understood. My parents blew up my phone, demanding I come home and telling me I should be ashamed that I'm acting this way. My grandmother blocked their numbers. She did talk to them, and they agreed I could stay where I'm at until I get my head on straight. I feel guilty for leaving my brother, but at the same time, I feel so worn out. Other families weighed in. While most are on my side, others say I need to accept my duties in the family and suck it up. I'm conflicted and don't know what to do. AITA for running away. Update in comments. Same day. Posting here in the comments, since doing it in the post pushed me over the limit. Thank you to everyone who left comments. I feel more confident in my decision now. A couple of people said I needed to talk to my parents about sitters or boundaries. I've tried before the last time. They either brushed me off or said things like, "That costs so much money. But you do such a good job." And, "You're the big sister. It's your duty to watch him." I looked up parentification, since I'd never heard it before, and all the boxes were ticked. I had no idea. My grandmother is talking to an attorney and wants to set up an arrangement that will let me stay with her for my last 2 years of high school. After I graduate, I plan to go to college in another state. Thank you again for your kind words. If something major happens, I'll let you all know. OP is voted NTA. Update. Almost 1 month later. It's been a few weeks, but quite a bit has happened. I'll try my best to keep things concise. Once again, thank you for all your comments and support. They meant a lot to myself and my grandmother, who says hello. Firstly, my father managed to find my post despite my efforts. He told my mother about it, and she proceeded to blast me at the members of my extended family via social media, saying I made them look bad. She deleted the post a few hours later, according to my cousins, who support me. A few days later, during a meeting between my parents and myself, my grandmother, and our lawyer, my father apologized to me, and I felt it was sincere. As for my mother, she was silently fuming. Matt was at their house with one of my aunts. They agreed with great reluctance on my mother's end to give my grandmother full custody of me for my remaining 3 years as a minor. The next day, my grandmother and some of my supportive family members helped me get what I had for belongings out of my parents' house. I didn't feel true relief until that moment. Now, I'm trying to enjoy my summer. I'm hanging out with friends. Going swimming. I'm relaxing. I'm finally reading books I bought 3 years ago that I never got a chance to read. I'm planning extracurriculars for next semester, and even planning a birthday party, my first in 3 years, for my sweet 16 in February. I'm also helping my grandmother around the house. I do chores, but this time I'm getting an allowance. Even my sleep has improved. It's a whole new way of living, and it's kind of overwhelming, but I've never been happier. Hopefully, this is the last time I post. I'm going to log off Reddit and go out with my grandmother for some shopping. Thank you all. Relevant comments. Did you get all of your documents? Our lawyer was with us when we went to get my things and requested all my important documents. My father handed them over. My mother hid in the master bedroom. Make sure to go completely without contact. Back when I first left the house, my grandmother blocked their numbers, and I blocked all their social media and emails. I don't hate them, life's too short for hate. I don't even think I'm angry anymore. Just disappointed and let down. Is there any chance they will neglect or abuse Matt when you're gone? Have they before? I don't believe they did. Mom would get frustrated because of how fussy he was, but she never abused him. Dad was more patient with him. I think they honestly thought I had some gift when it came to him, like I was able to keep him behaved or calm. I wasn't. About her brother. I hope to reconnect with him once he's older. But with our mother being who she is, who knows? Update 2. 7 months later. Hey everyone. I previously posted in the AITA subreddit about a situation between myself and my parents, mostly my mother. TLDR. I was parentified and forced to devote 99% of my free time to my younger brother. I got fed up and ran to my grandmother. My parents surrendered legal custody of me to her. There are more details in the 2 posts I made about the topic. Things have been going smoothly. I'm doing well in school, taking some extracurriculars, robotics and debate team, and still have time to read and hang out with friends. I have started to communicate with my dad my decision. Never in person, just over the phone. Mostly, it's small talk. I talk about school and classes, and he gives me updates on Matt, my little brother. I've not said a word to my mother directly since the day custody was given to my grandmother. The last time we spoke, my dad told me that Matt had realized I was no longer around and became more agitated. They hired a nanny to help out, but both my parents were still forced to cut back on their hours. That was a week and a half ago. This past Saturday, I had my dream birthday party, which was themed after books. My birthday cake looked like a stack of books, snacks were themed after literary genres, and everyone came dressed as book characters. I dressed as Sherlock Holmes. We had a very cozy venue all to ourselves, and it was great. It was a very chill, relaxed party. My grandmother hired security for the party, with a strict list of who was allowed. This was due to a couple of bullies at school who heard about my party and threatened to crash it. The party ended after a few hours, and most of the guests left. The ones left were my grandmother, myself, one of the guards, and my 2 closest friends. I excused myself to go to the restroom, and when I came out, one of my friends met me halfway down the hall. She tried to push me back into the restroom, saying my mother had shown up and was demanding to see me. I told nobody, not even my family, about this party, not my dad, not even the ones who supported me because of this exact possibility. I also didn't post about it on social media. I heard yelling from my grandmother and decided to confront the situation myself. The security guard was holding my mom back, and my grandmother was livid. The second my mother saw me, she became irate, screaming that I was a disgrace, that she was never going to let me just cut her off, and if I knew what was good for me, I'd come home. I didn't feel scared or even angry. I was just tired. I kind of sighed, pulled out my phone, and told her I was calling the police. It was up to her if she stayed to face them. But either way, I was filing a no-contact order. She went pale, screamed at me one last time, then ran off, getting into her car and speeding away. I was glad it didn't happen during the party, but it left me shaken. Needless to say, my grandmother and I will be speaking to our attorney tomorrow. I'm still not sure how she found out about the party, which is what spooks me the most. Do entitled or narcissistic parents just have some ability that lets them repeatedly attempt to screw up their kids' lives? I'm starting to feel like I'll have to watch out for my mom for the rest of my life. Relevant comments. This exchange. Commenter. To answer your question, yes, they try to ruin their children's lives whenever they can. Why? They don't see that they are at fault because they are too self-absorbed to have common sense. In their eyes, others will always be at fault. Have you spoken to your dad since this incident, or do you intend to? Or are you going to NC with him too? If you speak to him, maybe he can give you information on who told your mom, because this person needs to get out of the picture. I have this for you. It sums up pretty perfectly how narcissists are. OP. I have not spoken to my dad since the incident. I really don't want to go out of contact with him. He seems the most apologetic over what I went through and is trying to change from what I've gathered through speaking to him. I never told him about the party, so he couldn't have informed my mother. I do intend to call him today and see what happened after my mother left. Could she be tracking your phone? I thought about that, and my grandmother agreed. We checked over my phone to see if there was anything of the sort and found nothing. I am definitely considering a new phone. Therapy. Thank you. I am in therapy. It's really helping me with a lot of the guilt and pressure I felt after running away. I won't lie. Despite my posts in AITA, a good chunk of me wanted to give in and run right back home. But I knew that wasn't what I really wanted, and I also knew that if I did, I'd just keep sacrificing unnecessarily. Update 3. 2 weeks later. Sorry for how late this update is. A lot has happened, and I've also been busy with schoolwork. I talked to my dad and told him what happened. He sounded horrified and apologized profusely. I told him not to, since it wasn't his fault. He said he'd get to the bottom of it and get back to me. In the meantime, we spoke to our lawyer, and he agreed to my idea of filing a no-contact order against my mother. It's currently in progress. My grandmother contacted my school to ensure that my mother was not permitted on campus or allowed to get any information about me. Both my grandmother and I got new phones and had my grandmother's car checked for AirTags. None were found. I checked out all my friends' social media, and nothing was posted before the party. I was baffled. 5 days later, I got a call back from my dad. Apparently, he put a lot of pressure on my mother, and she finally spilled the beans. She bumped into another parent at a store, the mom of one of my most recent friends who was unable to make the party. They caught a cold. Said mom was not aware of all the drama between my mother and me, giving enough information for my mother to put 2 and 2 together and figure out where the party was. I am just thankful she was unable to get the exact time of the party. She tried calling the venue, but we password locked. I think that's the right term, everything, and they gave her no information. She didn't regret any of it, and even suggested waiting off school grounds once school let out and trying to drag me back by the hair one day. Just typing that makes me shiver and feel sick to my stomach. My dad was appalled, and apparently that was the breaking point. They had a huge argument, and to make a long story short, he said he was done. He's currently in the process of moving out and staying in a hotel. He's filing for divorce and full custody of Matt. He offered to pay the nanny extra to hire her himself for Matt's sake. Now, even the relatives that were on my mother's side have started to cut her off. She insists she did nothing wrong, and that everything happening was my fault for being ungrateful and disloyal. All in all, there's hope for my dad and my brother. I think we can definitely have a better relationship in the future, so long as my mother stays out of the picture. Time will tell, I guess. And I guess that's it. Someone asked in the comments of my last post if I was planning on completely cutting my mother out of my life once the no-contact order was filed. I didn't want to. She's my mom. But the way she is now, I don't think I have a choice. It's for my safety and mental, physical, and emotional well-being. She doesn't have my best interests at heart, only her own. It's sad, but I know it's not my fault she's the way she is now. Second story. OP lost control at her insufferable sill and said no one gives a F that she is pregnant. My husband 30M and I 26F got married during COVID. We couldn't have a big ceremony because of restrictions, and unfortunately, my family couldn't be present as they live in a different country. With restrictions finally lifted, we decided to have a more traditional ceremony in my home country with my family. My husband's family came. His parents, some friends, cousins, and his sister 32F. We'll call her Sarah and her husband 28M. We'll call him Matt. Sarah and Matt live on the other side of the US from the rest of the family. They had their wedding a couple of months back in their home state, and ever since then, when we have a conversation, even without our wedding coming up, Sarah will say that she and Matt are planning to get pregnant on the trip for my husband and I's wedding. No big deal. I just made sure to tell her that she needs to ovulate for that to happen. But other than that, I could not care less. What started to get annoying was that when we were talking about all the activities and excursions people wanted to do, so they could go ahead and book them, Sarah would always say, "Make sure there's enough time for Matt and me at the hotel, so we can get busy making our baby." Again, kind of gross, a little annoying, but whatever, they are grown-ups. About a week before we all leave to go to my home country, Sarah and Matt arrive in our home state to spend time with family, as they rarely see them. My husband and I, his parents, and my husband's brother and sister-in-law are sitting and chatting when Sarah blurts out that she is pregnant. We all get really excited, congratulate them, and say how happy we are. We start asking some questions, and Sarah says she is 2 weeks pregnant. Everyone kind of loses a little bit of excitement and says, "Wow, that's really early." We suggest waiting before telling other people, just as a lot can happen. People usually don't even know they are pregnant until at least 6 weeks. And even then, They are encouraged to wait until after the first trimester to tell people. My Bill and Sil were very happy and excited for them, but I cautioned them even more as they had experienced multiple miscarriages before having their first child. Matt replied by saying they are only telling the people closest to them, e.g. his parents, her parents, and her siblings, no one else since it is so early. Well, the next day, Sarah had called her great uncle and his wife over for drinks and decided to tell them too. She called her one aunt and uncle and told them, and by the end of the day, basically the entire extended family knew, as well as some of her mom's friends who stopped by the house, and Sarah told them. With each person Sarah told Matt, he got more agitated, as they had agreed to only tell a select few people. Matt finally gave up and asked her why she doesn't just post it on Facebook, as it will be quicker. To which she replied that she wants to, but she thinks it will be frowned upon. My husband came to me and said it feels like she is trying to draw attention away from us and our wedding, as she is known to do anything and everything to have the spotlight on her. I told her not to worry about it, as when we are in my home country, she isn't going to know many people, so she won't say anything. He agreed, but went to his parents and told them what he was feeling, and asked if they could politely suggest that she keep it to herself when we left for the trip. They agreed that it was valid for him to feel that way, as they know she hates it if the focus is not on her. Anyway, we leave for the wedding, and I see my mom for the second time in 5 years. Obviously, it was a very emotional reunion, but we wiped off our tears quickly and sat down for a meal with my husband's family. After I introduced her to everyone, the waiter took our order, and the first thing Sarah said to my mom was, "Your daughter probably already told you, but I won't be drinking this trip." My mom says that there is no problem. You don't have to drink to have fun, and that Sarah will still have fun, even if she chooses not to drink. Sarah interrupts my mom to tell her that it is not by choice that she is not drinking, but that she is pregnant. Keep in mind that this is 10 minutes after she met my mom. My mom says congratulations and keeps on with another conversation. Sarah interrupts my mom again and tells her how she is 2 weeks pregnant and is just so excited. My mom, who is in medicine, then tells Sarah the same thing we did, that she should probably wait until she is in her second trimester to tell people, and Sarah completely ignores her. The same thing happens with my aunt, cousins, uncles, sister, and grandparents, all of whom she has never met before. My husband yet again speaks to his parents and asks them to please tell her to keep it private, because it feels as though she is purposefully trying to take attention away from our wedding. They say they will talk to her. Matt actually comes up to us and apologizes, saying he agrees that it has gotten out of hand, and that the number of people that know is way more than the number they agreed upon. Fast forward. We are sitting and eating while we wait for one of our excursions. A family that I lived with for 3 years when I first moved to my husband's country flew out for the wedding and met up with us for lunch. They have never met my Sil. The wife and I are talking about the wedding and all the arrangements, while my Sil sits across from us and listens to the conversation. My husband orders some shots for everyone at the table, and when his mom says she doesn't want one, he tells the server -1. My Sil hears him ordering the shots and goes off, yelling across the table, "I can't drink alcohol. You know I can't drink a shot. Why would you order me one?" Everyone kind of stops and looks at her for a sec before my husband says it's not a problem as Matt said he wants to. Everyone then continues their conversation, including my wife and me. My Sil interrupts me and continues to make a big fuss over how my husband ordered her alcohol when he knows she's not drinking. The wife then says it's okay because Matt said he'd drink it, so it's not going to go to waste. My Sil then says again how annoying it is that my husband ordered her a shot, and I say not to worry about it because I'll just drink it if Matt doesn't want it. She keeps doing this till I finally tell the wife that she's not drinking because she is pregnant. The wife says congratulations, asks how far she is, and then also tells her to be careful not to tell too many people. This situation happens about 3 more times in the week leading up to the wedding. Now this is why I might be the The last time it happened, she was telling my high school friends at the wedding how sick she had been, but no one asked why she was sick. They were just empathetic and said they hoped she felt better. They came over to me to talk to me, and she followed again, complaining about how sick she has been and kind of pushing them to ask why she has been feeling so sick. When I finally said, "Sarah, are you effing kidding me? No one gives a SHT that you are pregnant. They don't even know you." Sarah ran off crying, and my Mill heard me say that and told my Phil, who screamed at my husband, saying how we hurt Sarah's feelings and how she was just excited. My husband doesn't think I did anything wrong, and my high school friends think I was fine too, because they know the backstory. My mom and some of my husband's family think I was the arsehole. So thank you, AITA, for telling my Sil that no one cares that she is pregnant. TLDR. I yelled at my Sil at my wedding that no one cares that she is pregnant after she repeatedly tried to take the attention off of my husband and me. Relevant comments. A can want attitude. 2 weeks pregnant doesn't exist. If she's used the clear blue test that says 2 weeks, it actually means she's 4 weeks. Your weeks of pregnancy are dated from the first day of your last period. This means that in the first 2 weeks or so, you are not actually pregnant. Your body is preparing for ovulation, releasing an egg from one of your ovaries as usual. OP. She said she knows when she got pregnant. It was their anniversary from when they started dating. And then she took a pregnancy test, and it came back positive 2 weeks after their anniversary. She could also apparently feel when the implant of the egg happened. Constitutional history. Here's the real problem. Her husband, her parents, or even your husband should have told her off long before this reached your breaking point. You did nothing wrong, but apparently nearly everyone else was more than happy to play the role of enabler for the little princess. Prestigious Algae 886. NTA. Sarah sounds insufferable. Is she the golden child? OP. Yes, she never finished college after asking her dad to pay for 4 different colleges and degrees, and then still got a graduation present when she moved away to work on a ranch. She also gets an allowance for money every month from her father. Update. My husband and I finally had our honeymoon, and we were unreachable during our holiday because we were out of the country. Our whole family knew this before we left, and we told them the only way to reach us in an emergency was to call the hotel. We knew Sarah was going in for her appointment while we were away, and we told her we would call her as soon as we got back home. My husband and I were out one day for the whole day from the hotel doing activities, and when we got back, we found a note on our room saying we had to go to reception. Once we got to reception, the person told us we had missed 7 calls from family and gave us a number to call. We didn't know who called or what about, but we thought it was an emergency. We called the number, and it was Matt. He was very confused and asked why we were calling him on our honeymoon and if we were okay. We said that the hotel called his number 7 times and asked him if everything was okay. Matt said everything was fine, but Sarah wanted to talk to us. Matt called Sarah over, and she asked us how we were having fun, etc. But we just wanted to know what was going on because we were so worried. Sarah said she went to the doctor and got some news. We asked her if everything was okay because she kept not saying anything, and we could hear her and Matt whispering to each other. We heard Matt say to her, "Did you seriously call the hotel 7 times to tell them this? It could have waited." Sarah finally gets back on the phone and says that the doctor said she was going to have twins. We said congratulations and asked if there was anything else. We thought it was an emergency. She said no. She just wanted to share the news because she was so excited and scared that she couldn't hold it in. She said she also called my mom and told her they are friends on social media. My husband and I both just said we were very happy for them, but really didn't want to be bothered again if it was not an emergency. Sarah said we were being very rude, and she just wanted to share the good news. We hung up because we had to get ready for dinner. When we got back into the US, my in-laws picked us up from the airport and were asking us if we spoke to Sarah. We said yes. She said she was having twins, and we were very excited for them. My Phil then said Sarah told them we were extremely rude to her and Matt, and we were dismissive and hung up the phone. We told them what really happened, and they said that is not what Sarah has told the whole family. We are now back in our house and haven't spoken to Sarah or Matt. But Matt texted us both, but the text only came through later, where he said he was so sorry that they bothered us on our vacation, and he felt horrible. We just texted back and said all was well, and that we were very excited for both of them. All I can say about this whole situation is that I am very happy that we live on the other side of the country from Sarah. Additional comment from OP. I spoke to my mill today, and like everyone said, Sarah didn't calculate her time right. She is actually about 8-9 weeks pregnant, according to my mill. Sarah is also having twins that are 2 eggs and 2 sperm, not sure of the medical name, and each has their own sac. Relevant comments. Bubblehead Joe. Did your brother go with her to the doctor? Did he see the ultrasound? For some reason, women who fake pregnancies often claim they're having twins. Now, that isn't a super likely scenario, but this woman sounds pathologically desperate for attention. I probably have watched too many Dr. Phil episodes on women who fake pregnancies, but I'd reverse image search any ultrasound pictures she sends or posts. OP. I think Matt went with yes. When we got back to the US, she sent us a picture of the ultrasound. I'm not a doctor or in the medical field at all, but it looked like 2 babies to me. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.